everybody. This is episode 8 of The Monster I Married. My name is Rachel Anderson. This video is for educational purposes only. This is my personal lived experience that I'm sharing with you about how I found out that my husband, Andrew, is and has always been an absolute monster. Welcome back. Two things that I want to clarify that I had said in the previous video. I had said that my husband was not participating in our home or our lives. I want to make it clear that that had not always been the case, obviously. There was no way that I was going to be with someone for that long who wasn't, an active participant in his home, his marriage, our life. There's no way. So that had become the normal. He had made that our norm, but it wasn't for years and years and years. That's one thing. So that's why it had become a problem. The other thing is that 2024, when I'm bringing this up, I am not calm or, rational when it comes to, I'm sick to death of talking about these things because we had talked about it over and over and over hundreds of times. And I'm being, again, gaslit and manipulated first into, yes, you're right, I'll do it, and then literally nothing changes. Or you're asking for the moon, I couldn't possibly do these things. So, two things I want to clarify about that. So, February of 2024, my husband says, we cannot communicate, we need a mediator. I had already decided, for reasons, a lot of it had to do with what I was being manipulated into thinking, but I had already decided for myself that 2024 was going to be the year that I went into therapy, because my goal always has been to be better, do better, and being self-aware does not mean that you're actively getting better. So I had already decided that was going to be the year that I was going to get into therapy. So I'm looking into that. And again, a big part of it too is that, it's not what you say to me, it's how you say it. You're so aggressive and, you just, you. So I was like, okay, my husband deals with things differently than I do. My approach isn't working. It doesn't seem to matter how I approach it. I can subtly hint at things. I can outright say it. What I don't want to do though is have to manipulate, right? I don't want to have to manipulate him into doing these things. So how do I go about approach? So anyway, I've got that going. I had already planned, was already seeking out a therapist for myself. So I apologize also for all the sniffing. I've noticed that I have a new foundation, and I don't know if I'm allergic to it or what, but my nose starts running every single time I put it on. I apologize. Anyway, so I spend all of February looking for a marriage counselor for us. Trying to pick exactly the right one. I'm doing all of the work, all the footwork. Every day I emailed probably 100 people, just to see if one, they fit our specific situation. Do they accept our insurance? All of those things. I'm doing the footwork. Also, something that was happening at home. I had said, okay, since we're going to go to marriage counseling and this, I feel like need to get some, we're not spending any time together. We're not spending any time as a family. I want to work on that, right? And I want to start working on that immediately because the kids are confused. They know that they're really upset. I'm really upset. Let's spend some time together. And he's like, well, I'm going to a bachelorette party this weekend for one of my coworkers. And I said, I'm sorry, what? You're a grown ass man. You're what? Going to a bachelor party for one of my coworkers who he calls his best friend. And I said, now this would be an issue anyway, but it's a big issue because he is or I think he is anyway, spending every other weekend out working. He's picking up shifts through this app called Clipboard, where other facilities that need medical personnel, like if those people call out, they're actual employees, they have these people step in. So my husband is, I think, at the time, constantly picking up these shifts like every single weekend. And he's already told me that the following 3 weekends he's not going to be available because he's working these shifts. So I'm like, okay, so the only free time that you have in the foreseeable future is this weekend, and you're going to be spending that at your coworker who you've known for a year, your coworker's bachelorette party. That is more important to you than spending time with your wife, which you literally never do at this point. You haven't done in like more than a year. Then spending time with your wife and or spending time alone with the boys or as a family. Like you've got 4 options: wifey time, kid time, family time, or bachelorette party, and you're choosing the bachelorette party. So I make this a big deal because it is a big deal. And he is downplaying it to death, and I am being too emotional and too needy, and he just needs time with his friends, and I'm like, you spend more time not only with these people but talking to these people. You spend more time with them than you do your family. Your family is struggling big time right now. Big time. All of our relationships are really, really struggling, and you're making this the priority. So I make plans with the boys that weekend to go do something with them. He ends up sleeping. I remember getting home the night that he was supposed to go out, and he was sleeping. And then moving forward, he was like, see, I didn't even go. Not because he was spending time with me or the kids or whatever. He decided to stay home and sleep. Or perhaps he fell asleep and, took a nap, didn't wake up in time. I don't know. The point is he didn't go, and he tried to be like, see, you made me. No, you just didn't go. So that was one thing. That was I should have, again, I hadn't caught on yet. That was a huge indicator that my marriage was over. So that was February. Also, there was a big, one of the times I tried to confront him about why it upset me so much that he was putting this first and how and why, and he just kept dismissing me. I remember him saying, I want to spend time with my friends. You need to do the same thing. And I was crying, and I said, I don't have time. Do you understand? I don't have time. You can leave here and do whatever you want because you aren't responsible for anything in this house anymore. You can go whenever. You don't call. You do whatever you want. Don't have to worry about checking in with anyone. I'm the one taking care of everything in this house. So it's so easy for you, right? It's not easy for me. I don't have time. And I'm crying. I'm hysterical. And I'm like, Andrew, I don't have a social life because you have decided that the only thing you have to do is work and come home. And I'm hysterical because he's right. I don't have a social life. I am the emotional touchstone for everyone in this house. I am physically, emotionally, financially responsible for everyone in this house. And the only thing that you're doing and have been doing for a long time at this point is working and coming home. So you're right. I don't have time for a social life. I would love that. Well, do it, Rachel. Do it. Go spend time with your friends. He didn't care if I had friends. He didn't care that I didn't have a social life. He didn't care about any of that. I would find that out immediately after. So go to part 9.